You noble diggers, all stand up now.
Hello my friends, and welcome to my channel. Today we will be returning to our Bash the Fash segment. I saw a video. Producing my own videos has pushed the YouTube algorithm to show me other very small channels as of right now, and I came across a very small right-winger channel, who I will not name, who also, I will post his picture though, and he looks like he has fetal alcohol syndrome. And if you do manage to find him, he also sounds like he has a 20 IQ. Like every time he speaks, I can feel the neurons being shaved off the front of my mind. But what he was talking about was Fuentes. He didn't really talk much. He like Asmongolded it. He would like pause and be like, oh. But anyways, Fuentes. Fuentes really gets my goat. I hate that guy. He is smart. He's very smart, but he is a fascist, a Nazi, and a threat to civilization. And so we're going to dispatch him and his talking points today, right? And I hope this can also serve as an example of how to dispatch Nazis, right? Liberals constantly get caught up in trying to show that Nazis are hypocrites, Nazis don't really believe what they say, right? Nazis are liars. It's wrong-headed, right? That'll defeat a liberal, right? But to defeat a Nazi, you have to embarrass him in front of the crowd, right? And so, one, you bully his points. You say that that's wrong. You show that it's wrong. You show the contradictions over and over again, that they know nothing, right? You bully them like they're unintelligent. And then after you've finished the formal argument, you keep going. You sack their keep. You burn their castle to the ground. And by which I mean flip their racial hierarchy on itself and push them down the totem pole of it. To think that Nick Fuentes really wants a Nazi hierarchy while people like me are on the left, it's a weapon. Use it, right? Nick's first argument, right? He's saying that all these arguments are about anti-Semitism, which I find repulsive, right?
Of course, the big story of the past 2 years is that Israel is becoming extremely unpopular. That's to put it mildly. Anti-Semitism has become mainstream.
As Israel does its genocide and Holocaust, anti-Semitism has nothing to do with what Israel is conducting. Israel is a colony of the American Empire. It is a colonial project. It has very little, if anything, to do with Semitism, Judaism. His first argument is that Israel's falling unpopularity has lended credence to anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. That the two main points that he points out are that people now believe in Israel's role in the JFK assassination and the 9/11 conspiracy.
And people are not just criticizing Israel. They're talking about Israel's role in 9/11. They're talking about Israel's role in the JFK assassination. They're talking about Israel's designs, which have brought America to war in the Middle East for 25 years.
The 9/11 conspiracy is the dancing Israelis conspiracy, where Israeli intelligence officers were picked up videotaping and dancing to the collapse of the Twin Towers on 9/11, right? Inconclusive, but suspicious, right? And then the JFK assassination is that JFK was looking into trying to denuclearize Israel, right? And the fatal flaw here is, of course, right, believing that the Israelis had power in excess of the Anglos. I want you to really think, how much money could the Israeli elite really raise, right? And how much money could that really be in compared to the Anglo elite, right? And money, I mean wealth beyond comprehension, an institutional power, spies that just go out and gather information because of long-held orders, right? Standing orders that they couldn't even place the commander of. So to believe that there's any conspiracy that the Israelis could do without the notice of the Anglophones is ridiculous. So what probably happens in both those scenarios is that the Confederates let it happen, and the British Commonwealth, the Commonwealth of His Majesty King Charles III, also lets it happen. both times, right? Because they are constellated reactionary forces that the nobility of His Majesty the King in England and the slavers of the Confederate South are both dynastically descended from Norman conquerors, right? They have the same dynastic predilection, and that this makes them subhuman, right? Barbaric Vikings in all but name. And these barbaric Vikings, stupid as they are in argumentation, are not stupid in their operations and their goals and their missions, right? To attain more power and wealth for themselves. And so just always laugh that there could be an Israeli conspiracy that overcomes the Anglo intelligence agencies, right? There is so much money, so much power, so many smart people, right? It would be impossible, right? So always remember, the Confederates let those things happen. Free speech. His next argument is free speech.
This is not opinion. This is not hatred. Everyone, because of the liberalization of the internet in the past 2 years, because of Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter and the free speech on the platform, because of TikTok, because censorship has receded.
Right? He says that because Elon Musk has taken over Twitter and there's no more censorship on the platform, that naturally these anti-Semitic conspiracies will come to take root, right? And that's just obviously a sham, false, right? Free speech. Free speech is a lie. Everyone says they're for free speech. I've never, ever met someone who actually is, right? You ask these free speech warriors, is it okay to say fire in a theater? You ask these free speech liberals, right? Is it okay to gin up support and hate for an extermination of another group, a protected class, as it is called in Canada? Absolutely not, right? Is it free speech to threaten somebody, to, with particulars, intent, time, weapon, threaten somebody? No, right? And so I'm way more free speech than any fascist. I believe that the privilege of free speech should entitle anybody to comment on political matters, basically within any bounds, basically. But the fascists don't believe that. If they wanted to go free speech head to head with the communists, they'd be crushed. And they rely on their hatred of free speech, right? They are wholly wholly empowered because of the McCarthyism of the 60s, right? If all the smartest commies, which were all the smartest Americans, were pushed out of the government, right, then there would be no right today. The natural debate and discourse within America would have led to a resounding leftist victory. And that all they rely on nowadays is the reification of that criminal persecution of the left. It's that the McCarthyism is a crime that he loves, so he hates free speech, right? He's a liar. He just hates free speech. You got to push that in his face. You're a liar. You hate free speech, and you would die under the rays of free discourse. Third, his topic that he pushes to show that there is this Jewish conspiracy, which does not exist, is that there is a disproportionate
a religious and ethnic minority, which is 2% of the population, to rise up and become disproportionately represented and influential in media, Hollywood, finance, banking, government. And they use that influence and that power for nefarious purposes.
Amount of Jewish people in both finance, entertainment, and government, right? Liberal government too, they would say. And I would say that this is actually just mathematically predictable, right? That there are a couple things that layer to make this happen, right? That first, the people who escaped the Holocaust were probably the smarter ones, right? That if you turned left instead of right here or there, that you had the instincts to survive that made you smarter, right? But there were the Jews that were in America were already largely the majority, right? And so what else accounts for it, right? Well, think of a cultural post-traumatic stress disorder, right? That says we were just hunted to extermination. And you think that the men involved, that the smart men involved, people who would be intelligence otherwise, would not think that we need to do all that we can to prevent this from happening again, right? And this explains the nuclear weapons, does not justify them, right? It explains any involvement in the assassination of JFK, right? And it doesn't need a global Jewish conspiracy. It just needs to be the PTSD of the Israeli colonists, right? The liberal Jewish members like Norman Finkelstein or Sam Cedar never feel this PTSD because they are not under direct threat, right? And so they're not involved in this conspiracy, right? And they're not fake Jews. They still participate in the rites and the passages, right? And finally, there is I don't want to get racial at all, but that the Jewish people have sustained themselves through their faith to the Torah, right? And without a land to sustain them. And that this relationship probably made them smarter than us, right? Just on average. That if you were not reading that book, then you were not a Jew, right? And you were just absorbed into the Gentiles. And so this literate people, when given civil rights, tend to do very well, right? I'm sure that they'll continue to secularize and be absorbed eventually, mathematically determined, basically. There is nothing suspicious or aggressive or conspiratorial about the representation that they have, right? They are 2% of the population and they're outsized. Crazy, right? You should see how outsized white people are in the government compared to their proportion of the people, right? It just makes no sense. It's just stupid. Just laugh at it, right? Okay, so those are his points, right? He doesn't really have any. He's an idiot. He's a Nazi, right? And a moron. Right? Doesn't know anything about history and is a liar. We've shown that, right? Just moron liar. That's good, right? But that's not enough. A moron liar won't get mad because he's a Nazi. He likes being a liar, right? And he thinks you're the moron. So kick him down his own racial totem pole, right? I want Fuentes to really think for a second. If I was to identify a Nazi figure with whom he is correspondent with, right, I would put Ernst Röhm near the top of the list. Ernst Röhm was the head of the
Sturmabteilung.
And he was killed by Hitler, one of the first people Hitler killed, for being a homosexual, right? For being a piece on the board that he could sacrifice to get greater belief from his new followers, the military, right? And so I would like Fuentes to really think, right, that this diminutive dwarf, right, this homosexual, this gay man is going to tell me that there needs to be racial purity. I will put him in the camps myself. You know what I mean? If he is going to enforce a Nazi ideology, I will giddily enforce those laws on him himself. But luckily for him, real white men don't take it seriously. Have a nice day. Hello, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you. This channel has one mission: to prevent civilizational collapse associated with climate change, to prevent 100 million refugees by 2035, to stop 7 billion from starving to death by 2075. And we will do this through one main vehicle. We mean to unite the Anglosphere. We will do this by convincing the Commonwealth of His Majesty King Charles III to apply for statehood as one. And then with this new power, we will be able to negotiate in good faith with the rest of the world on how to tackle this crisis. Thank you and enjoy.